Hey guys, and welcome to a legendary showdown between two clanmates. On the left hand side, representing Sons of the Mountain and the Imperium, it says here, also known as the Empire, is for Poland up against the might of Grombrindal, the head of the Sons of the Mountains clan, and a Dowie legend through and through. But he has betrayed his ancestors today, perhaps bringing some undead Dowie, but to me they look like undead humans, so there's me the forces of the vampire count. So I'm always surprised that they never have models like, small zombies for goblins and dwarfs and stuff, and some like Minotaur zombies and stuff, but I guess it'd be quite hard to animate all of that to the battlefield. But anyway, this is a really fun game, very close one as well, a good old-fashioned scrap. So let's get into this and check out the builds. For the forces here of the Empire, we do have some of the naked lunatics of Sigma dotted through the front line. These guys are unbreakable, pretty decent damage dealers, will be able to chew through zombies super quick, as well as skeleton warriors. Will struggle though quite hard up against units such as Graveguard, who they simply can't really scratch or make a dent in. In the secondary line, we do have a load of swordsmen, including the Regiment of Renown, but on the flanks, we actually have double great swords, and this is really cool. I love seeing great swords in action. I really do wish that we could find a bigger use for them, but I still think putting one or two units can often be quite good. I like it against Lizardmen at the moment. It catches a lot of players off when they go for those old-school Saurus Rush builds. We'll have to see how they do perform today. In the central pocket, we do have two war wagons, looking to bring the armor-piercing long-range damage with a skirmish potential as well. And up in the sky, we have a very, very risky pick, and I absolutely love it. We have the mighty Karl Franz, dual-wielding on one hand the Runefang, the other Gal Maraz, but no life caster to heal him up. Instead, we have an Amber Wizard right into battle, one of the most beautiful-looking mounts in the entire game. He looks a little bit weird, kind of like crouched on top of it, but hey, you can't win them all. He's coming in with Pan's Impenetrable Pelt and Flock of Doom, but he packs a massive punch. Look at those stats. 450 weapon strength, 40 melee attack. Yeah, he can tank out the best of them, so it looks like a bit of a goon squad up in the sky to try to take out any vampire count lords who do fly. And it looks like we do have a blood dragon vampire lord up in the skies, Invocation Heck and Raised Dead, and he is certainly all alone, so Grombrindal's going to have to whip out some pretty ridiculous micro to keep this bad boy alive. On the right-hand side, we have double Black Knights. Don't get to see them terribly often, so it'd be pretty cool to see how they perform. Load of zombies, including Regiment Renowned on the front line. A load of skeleton warriors in the secondary line, backed up by a couple of units of Cane Wraiths, as well as, it would seem, 4 units, I believe. Yeah, 4 units of Graveguard. Some of them coming in with those great weapons. In fact, I think all of them are the great weapon variety today. So without further ado, let's get this battle underway. It's going to be a wild one for sure. I feel real bad for Grombrindal when you come in like this and you're just completely outfought in the sky when you have a flying lord. It can be real rough. Looks like a Flock of Doom is going down, perhaps. No, maybe there's a Pan's Impenetrable Pelt going down on Karl Franz. Blood Dragon Vampire Lord wants absolutely none of that scrap. In the front line, zombies are getting dumpstered as well, all the way along. But now in come the Cane Wraiths, Skeletons, and Graveguard, and that'll turn into a very different situation. Now, this is some beautiful play by the Vampire Count player, absolutely phenomenal. So he realizes he's out much in the sky, so he needs to drag these enemy flyers down to the ground. So he charges against the Great Swords, backed up here by the double Black Knights. However, there's a big Flock of Doom going down there, as well as a load of buffs from Gamraz, but it is going to allow the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord to get up into the skies and escape once more. So really lovely play there coming in by Grombrindal, but it is going to be at the sacrifice, it would seem, of a lot of his knights. Those great swords are quite happy to take that fight, it would seem. We are lining up a big fat breath attack down on the Amber Wizard. Unfortunately, it doesn't really connect. Now Karl Franz is poking the dragon in the rear end. Not something it will enjoy whatsoever, but it is continuing to hunt right now that Amber Wizard all over the battlefield. Some Graveguard and Skeleton Spearmen need to get moving, but of course, most of the micromanagement is based around this Lord at the moment who's really struggling, and the Skeleton Spearmen are also losing heavily here. Heavily. I mean, the Graveguard are doing good on this left-hand flank, so they're kind of a saving grace, but at the moment, this battle is all going good for the Empire. It does seem like the Black Knights managed to survive. Did they kill the Greatsword unit? No, the Greatswords are still there with about half HP. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, however, is looking really unhealthy at the moment. A nice summon of zombies tries to pin in Karl Franz and the Amber Wizard, but the poor Blood Dragon may go down here. Negative 10 leadership and crumbling. Once again, he's going to dart down into the rear of the enemy, looking to bring some carnage. Unfortunately, this unit is unbreakable, so he's not actually going to be able to tank them too much. Another well-placed Overcast Flock of Doom does catch a load of zombies. I mean, nothing, of too much value, but it should help finish off those Black Knights as well. Karl Franz and the Amber Wizard currently looking a lot more healthier than the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, who's down to minus 26 leadership and only 200 HP, so it looks like he may indeed be doomed. Graveguard are continuing to push through though, now aiming at the Sigma Suns. A lot of troops on this right-hand side have been dealt with. Greatswords waiting in reserve now. Nice patient play by the Empire. So I'm going to draw out the ground game as long as possible so I can ensure that I can win the air game. And that's obviously quite crucial here for the Empire today. The War Wagons are turning around. It looks like the Black Knights are unfortunately feeling the wrath here of the Amber Wizard and Karl Franz. In the distance, Invocation Heg does manage to save the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, and he has actually stabilised right now, which is really good news for him. Cane Wraiths are being a big pain, and the Graveguard have eventually cut their way through that front line, decapitating men, severing limbs, and obviously raising their own undead troops to take those who do fall. This is a bold Amber Wizard. He needs to be careful. Blood Dragon Vampire Lord with a breath attack to the face would be able to win this. And looks like that's just what we're going to get, but beautiful micro here by the Empire player, duking out of the range of the breath attack. Amber Wizard does pop Pounds and Penetrable Pelt on him, and it looks like once again the Vampire Lord is going to move over to the safety of friends. We do actually have 82 Graveguard down here, and some Cane Wraiths, so not a bad idea whatsoever, plus a cheeky zombie summon coming in to try to surround and beat down these units. Invocation Heck once again going to be placed on the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, counteracted though by a nice Flock of Doom. This Amber Wizard really has put in quite a shift today. Whereas Franz, I mean, he's kind of abandoned his Wizard Ward. He's hopping on top of Cane Wraiths and the Skeleton Spearmen. He'll take some okay damage from them, but nothing too shabby, as more Swordsmen and Greatswords do start to pour in. But 74 Graveguard is certainly no joke. The War Wagons are a big problem right now for the Vampire counts. They have simply nothing to chase them down, so they're going to get their value one way or another. And the Amber Wizard crumples into the snow as the dragon, its jaws dripping in the blood of its fallen foes, is victorious in the sky. He probably doesn't want to duel Karl Franz one-on-one though, particularly if Gumraz and the Runefang are ready to be popped up. I mean, a breath attack followed by a charge and Heart Piercer would be nice, but I think the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord has used its buffs, and Karl Franz still has them in the back pocket. Cane Wraiths are dueling the Swordsman right now. Once again, that Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to take down to the ground to try and find some support here in the form of the Graveguard. Now, it does mean he will receive the charge when Franz comes in. There's a lot of decent troops in here who could also hurt Franz back. And Franz is actually relatively squishy. Stand Your Ground has been popped though to help buff him up. The Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to get escape once more back up into the sky, but is getting very, very close now to his healing cap. On the left-hand side here, Skeleton Spearmen and Cane Wraiths will be able to drag down the Swordsman. Graveguard are unfortunately in a rather thankless job of just chasing away War Wagons. That's not going to go good for the Graveguard whatsoever. Blood Dragon Vampire Lord still going strong. I'm very, very, very impressed so far by the Vampire Count player being able to keep him alive. The might of Karl Franz is swooping up into the skies and away once more. He's really looking for that scrap, but his buffs are soon to be disappearing. If we have one big breath attack left, now might be the time to use it. But he's really running out of avenues of escape for this Dragon Vampire Lord, and Karl Franz comes down. Gumraz raised high, looking for that kill. He does get distracted there, slapping away great swords, zombies, as well as some Graveguard. And it looks like the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord is going to be able to slink off into the shadows once more, get back up into the skies, and actually turn around. I think this is a do or die moment. Hey, I need to kill Franz. I need some real big hits, some lucky RNG. I need to connect a few times before he connects with me, surround him with Graveguard, and break him. But unfortunately for this Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, he is messing with the Emperor of humanity, not just the Empire. That is not Karl Franz's dream. He is here to rule all, and he starts by taking the head from the shoulders of the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. However, elsewhere on the battlefield, everything is dead for the Empire. Great swords are running, swordsmen are running. We have some War Wagons, but to be honest, they're not going to be that useful against what remains. Although a lot of the Vampire Count's troops are starting to crumble due to the fact they've lost their lord. Over on the far side, Cane Wraiths are slowly carving their way through Great Swords and Swordsmen, but it's certainly going to take them a rather long time, and Karl Franz is on the approach, and there's not too much, unfortunately, this larger contingent of Vampire Count troops can do. If they push this way, they're just going to get kited back. If they push the War Wagons, they're just going to get kited, so they need to try to ally themselves with their forces, but they're, of course, a slow and slumberous breed, and I don't know if they're going to be able to get back before Karl Franz finishes them off with a rather thunderous charge. And Franz is at 2.6k HP. That is certainly no joke, and he's quite comfortably dispatching those Cane Wraiths first, which is not a bad idea whatsoever. Swordsmen do rally, stand your ground has been popped, emboldening the men to greater feats of heroism, and they're going to be charging in to their doom once more as Karl Franz actually falls back and flees away from them. Cane Wraiths have got some legs on them, actually. They have no legs, but they've got a lot of speed, and they're actually managing to catch up with the war wagons here and chase them back. The problem is that's going to mean they get isolated, and Karl Franz probably will be able to jump on them and just finish them off. But the war wagons are starting to waver as well. Their leadership is starting to get quite low. Unfortunately for the vampire camp, so many of their troops are still starting to crumble, or very much on the weaker side. Bounce power is moving more and more in favour of Karl Franz. That's only going to increase the amount of crumbling, which is happening across the battlefield. Cane Wraiths get jumped there by Karl Franz, and they're not going to have a good day up against him. I mean, he doesn't do magic damage, so turning to fight isn't the worst idea. And if they can pin him in, oh no, big attack animation means he should be able to flee and get out of here. Or unless he wants to stand and fight, it can be a little risky. There's still 54 Graveguard, 46 and 46. That's a lot of AP Greatswords heading your way, Mr. Franz. So he attacks and then falls back just in the nick of time. Good micromanagement there for Poland. The Swordsmen, 96 kills. They've had an absolute whale of a time so far. A load of shots are now being unleashed upon the enemy, probably aiming at the Graveguard. They're not shielded. They're a good target as well, one of the most high-value units left on the battlefield. Empire simply going to kite back, which of course is the sensible thing to do. Buy time for the loyal Greatswords to return once more up to 118 kills. Swordsmen get close and flee, but the Greatswords, they're made of sterner stuff. They'll hang around for a while, and then they'll flee later. Karl Franz is getting ready for the final engagement. There's a lovely, little bait rear attack there into the Graveguard. War Wagons actually going to combat, which is pretty hilarious. Unfortunately, the Greatswords do get terrified and run away by the Cane Wraiths. And now the War Wagons and Franz do stand alone. Balance power is almost at army losses though, which is a bit of a shame, because if a lot of this stuff fights, maybe not. They're losing so many models now due to the fact they're all crumbling. But, oh, look at the animation. Good boy Franz on Deathclaw there. Sends his enemies flying. Looks like armor losses will actually kick in there. And the Empire shall be victorious. A very Pyrrhic victory, though. Well played to for Poland, as well as Mr. Grombrindle. I tip my hat to both of you. That was a super fun game. I have zero idea how Grombrindle kept that Blood Dragon Vampire Lord alive as long as he did. Well, of course, some incredible micro and good top-tier competitive play as well. Knowing when to dive down and knowing when to stand and fight. Awesome stuff here. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. It is the return of the Franzmeister. I had a really fun game up against von Karstein recently, which I may cast as well, where he also brought Franz. So maybe we're seeing a bit of a resurgence in Mr. Franz due to Volkmar being slightly predictable, and people are probably getting a bit tired of him. Well played to both these guys once again. I will go through the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units in just a second, but hope you guys enjoyed. And there are going to be links down below in the description to my Patreon if you'd like to support the channel, my Discord. If you would like to submit replays to me, you can do it via there. I do not accept them via email or other means. You have to do it on my Discord. You can also find and keep up to date with all news about my channel, get involved in events, tournaments, and that cool stuff. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, comment, all that good standard stuff. Let me know what you thought of the game and these two lads here. But yeah, back to the glorious stuff. So, Karl Franz, 85 kills, 3.3k damage value, still relatively healthy in the later stages of the game. Now, I love this combo coming in with the Amber Wizard, 1.3k on the bad boy himself. I do think those trying to find a place, even if it's just for a single Earthblood caster, to keep Franz alive a little bit more, would definitely be worth it. But I mean, it's a super fun build, so you can't really complain. Massive kills across the board. Oh, I'm going to look at 111, 180, 192, 97, and 132. Good work here by the Maniac Sigma Devoted. And, you know, damage value is not crazy, but it's not crazy bad either. You need someone to clear out the zombies. Spearmen and other units like that, and they did that job perfectly. Greatswords was very impressed with 750 damage value and 118 kills and 1000 on this other unit. Mwah, always good fun to see them in action. The War Wagons 1.2k, 1.3. My god, the War Wagons did really good. Not too many counters for them for the vampire counts. I see a lot of Empire players. I almost call it Imperium because of the name up here. This is a replay from For Poland and he's Polish, so some of the names may seem different. A lot of people tend to go full kite with Empire, which I think is a mistake. I like having this unbreakable front line, backed up by some heavy hitters and the War Wagons. Really nice build, good fun for sure. As for Grombrindle, just shy of 2000 damage value on the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord. Really impressive stuff considering how much he was hounded. Only 21 kills, but he did take down the Amber Wizard, neutering the enemy's magic ineffective. Graveguard did relatively good, 740, 934, 322, and 816 damage value. Cane Wraiths were pretty impressive, just shy of 700 damage value and 975. They were at least a big nuisance. Unfortunately, the zombies and Spearmen just got blended in that front line and really didn't stand much of a chance. Neither did the Black Knights. They were kind of sacrificed in the early stages of the game to try to save the Blood Dragon Vampire Lord, and they did succeed in that, but unfortunately, they failed in the battle. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. It was super good fun. Apologies again that my voice is kind of dead. Probably only a couple more videos of that and I should be back to full health. But if you got to this point in the video, you're absolutely awesome. And peace, and as always, stay awesome.